a friend, maybe just someone. So, you know, you have to, is that a focus that you notice your officers or detectives have to really encounter as you're going throughout the, you know, the daily business routine?
Absolutely, and that's what's expected of them, to be, just as you say, and to take on those roles. Whether it be a mother who's having problems with her, one of her children, who might need somebody to talk to or get some advice, or whether it's an individual that might have a problem with another individual that's turned violent. We have been trained, and we are expected to respond to all different sorts of problems, and we take them all very serious, and our goal is to solve the problem. And that doesn't always mean that it's going to be a criminal problem. We try to prevent that from happening. Sometimes if we get involved before it rises to that occasion, we're able to stop and take on a problem.
So you take a proactive approach to this. Don't wait for something to happen.
Really, we take a multidisciplinary approach to it, and it would involve using other outside resources, such as Child Protective Services. We use Westchester Mediation Services. We've brought in other law enforcement agencies, doctors, healthcare professionals, clergy. We are a friend of the clergy. The clergy is a friend of ours. We've used them to reach out to children and to the youth in the city, and to, you know, to do what we can to make it a better place to live for everybody.
Well, the one that I know that is I believe it's called PAPA, which is Peekskill Area Pastors Association. I'm sure they're one that probably, you know, supports any community involvement from the police.
Absolutely, and PAPA is a wonderful organization that we work very well and very closely with on several different avenues, and it really has become, it has made the city a better place to live. It has improved the quality of life, and I can say that because I grew up in the city. I grew up in Peekskill. I was born and raised here. I went to every school in Peekskill, from elementary through high school, and I can say that Peekskill has really developed into a wonderful city, a diverse community, and it's very attractive for people to want to visit.
Have you ever gone as far as, or what is your focus on outreach? Like, do you go into the schools at all, whether it's the elementary, middle school, high school? Do you do any of that right now?
We do. We work with the school district. We have our community policing division. Goes into the schools on a regular basis and reaches out to the kids and tries to develop relationships with them, and that's been successful. We've identified those who may be the most likely to cause trouble, and we've kept an extra eye on them to try and prevent future disturbances, so to speak. We've really taken a proactive approach to handling the community and being a friend to the community when that's appropriate.
Are you ever involved with using any, like, let's say the county police, federal, you know, I mean, FBI, I don't know, state police? You know, how far reaching can you go? Have you used every one of them at one point, you know, throughout your tenure there?
Oh, I've worked with local, state, and federal law enforcement departments on a multitude of incidents that have come my way since I've been there. Whether it's been the ATF, the FBI, the DEA, we've worked with them. We've worked with the state police, with their drug units, with their major crime units. We've used their lab on certain occasions. We use the Westchester County lab for as a routine point of business. We interact with their drug units. We share our resources, and really that's the only way to get things done, is to recognize what resources are available and then use them to your advantage.
You think 9/11 helped in that regard, in the sense that we realized maybe in the U.S. that it's time where we're, instead of being three different branches, really all three had to be working together in collusion in order to really help each other out? Why should one group keep information separate from another group, and, you know, therefore it's just double work or duplication of services? So it's probably better off in the long run.
Well, no question 9/11 had a major impact on all law enforcement agencies, and ours as well. I remember prior to 9/11, we did routinely work with federal, state, and local agencies, routinely, as I said. But it was more on us asking or reaching out to them for help. Since, it's kind of gone the other way. Not that they reach out to us for manpower type of help, but they are sharing their intelligence, looking for information.
There's a greater partnership.
Absolutely. They've recognized that nobody knows our communities better than us. Right. And we've taken our information and shared it with them, and I think that's helped them tremendously.
I just thought of something. You know, going back, what do you think is the biggest change? Like, I remember growing up in Peekskill too, and it seemed like there were you know, the cops were like out on the beat, you know, walking around, knew everybody, you know, like that. And I'm talking about early 60s, mid 60s into the 70s. How much has a police department changed? I mean, I'm sure with the computer age, computer technology, videos, you know, the fact that there are cameras that out for surveillance. How much has like, I mean, you know, you can always say that the police, like the detective work or the cop on the beat, knew everybody who was walking around. But things have changed. We no longer, walking around is no longer really a big thing. The car, you know, a car has changed our society so much that now we take a car to go up half a block to go get a loaf of bread at the local deli. Whereas when I grew up, you know, you went 4 or 5 blocks and walked to the store. So, you know, the police were out and about and they were really interactive. In this case, it's maybe changed. What is the biggest change that you've seen since, let's say, you've either started, or maybe since maybe if you had an older sibling, you know, parent, whatever, that was involved maybe with the police? What do you think the biggest change has been in the past 10, 20 years right now?
I would say now, I mean, my father was, you bring that up, my father was a New York State trooper, so I've been around law enforcement for even longer than I've been in it.
Sure.
But I would say in the 10 or well, the 15 years that I've been there, the biggest change has been in DNA technology and how police look at crime scenes and take on, you know, how they scope it out and what they assess.
The way forensic science really has picked up.
People have come to expect that with shows like CSI and Forensic Files that are readily available to people who seem to be dominating the airwaves today. So in terms of that,
does Peekskill have its own laboratory or crime scene group, or is it too small of a police department to really have something like that at this point in time?
Well, we don't have our own laboratory. We rely on the Westchester County Department of Labs and Research to process our forensic information or forensic evidence that we do recover. And by that I mean the blood evidence or hair evidence, right. DNA type evidence.
DNA testing, ballistic.
But we do our own crime scenes. Our detectives collect all types of evidence, whether it be blood evidence or bodily fluids, hair type evidence. We're equipped. We're very well equipped. We dust for our own fingerprints. We take our own photographs. Our fingerprint evidence we do ship to the Westchester County Department of Public Safety for analysis there, as we do our ballistics evidence, and they're better prepared or better staffed to deal with that.
Do you see that going in another direction, or do you see it, in other words, do you think forensics, the whole state of forensics, do you think it's going to change? Is that in the next 10 years looking forward? Do you think, does Peekskill start its own CSI unit, or is it something where maybe privatization is involved and, you know, could lead to that, where maybe they're called in like a team, you know, is called in? Which way do you think this goes?
Well, I don't see privatization going into the public sector. The job of the law enforcement officer will remain. It'll be the sworn officer, the public employee, who will collect the evidence. Right. And as far as Peekskill having a CSI team, we kind of do now. Our detectives are trained to look at a crime scene in that manner and to collect evidence that way. But I see us continuing to rely on Westchester County Police and the Westchester County Laboratory for the analysis of information or evidence that we recover. Mm-hmm. But as far as the private sector, I think that there will be a large opportunity or a growing opportunity for people to get into the private lab sector, and that will be, in my opinion, probably really fueled by the defense portion of the criminal justice system.
Oh, I see. So in other words, they'll be hiring their own people really to kind of counter. Unfortunately, it sounds like it's almost like it's going to counter whatever the police evidence is.
Right, and I don't know that unfortunate is the right term. I think it's you know, the way our system works, and it's important that there's a fair and balanced system, which I believe ours. It's not a perfect system, but I think it is the best system, and it's more of a check and balance as opposed to.
Could it be maybe so the pressure with that would maybe only raise the focus then, that we make sure that on the police end that there is the job done is really 100% accurate. Absolutely. That way there is no, you know, where it's 97 or 92%. We want to be 100% sure if we're charging someone a criminal with a crime or whatever, that we've got the right person.
Absolutely.
Sure. That's what, I mean, in the end, that's really what it's all about.
Of course.
How can, as a detective, how can the public help? What, if there is someone sitting at home tonight saying, you know what, I saw something